Like, yeah, inexplicably as well. Like, I don't even know what's the, wait, what's the word? It cannot help me, 'cause it's good. So these take it like this. So they can get played.
What the music I go to, what you go to?
Pardon? Was in the foil. Okay, I'm talking to you.
Put yourself together, Laser, and remember why you did this. You gotta help spread the truth. That word is unnecessary around this value.
Yo, son, you a genius. All them big marbles with islands on it make perfect cheap imp.
아, 밥 먹자. 밥도에 밥을 많이 줘야지. 백일지! 집에 없어?
야, 국가대표
horrible.
I know. The important part was the sacrifice.
Odd fucking lesson to be teaching kids, but it's okay. Sacrifice.
Already.
Yes.
Bridge, please reveal the first love. No. Venus was the Roman goddess of love. Sherlock Holmes, the landlady, is futuristic. Let's look at life, shall we? But I have to say, I'm a student, I do like the show. Tonight is a married, Dick is a small antelope.
Yeah, I can hear it.
And some pressing.
house to be well prepared because it will be another tough fight when given the quality and mentality, the attitude, the joy, the quality in training. That was the best sign that I can see.